Hi, welcome back to my one-handed instructional videos. Today I will be demonstrating how to drive a car with one hand. And one thing I want to state before I actually demonstrate this is this isn't just me solely teaching you how to drive a car. You should have some other exposure of how to drive a car, and these are kind of just tips that you can use along the way if you happen to be someone who can only use one hand. And certain things like with turning signals and shifting gears and everything, it will sometimes depend exactly what you do on which hand it is that you can't use, but I will make that clear of what you do in the different situations. Alright.
Okay.
Alright, so number one thing, always put on your seatbelt. That's for everybody. And so you do that. Then obviously start the car up. And so turn your headlights on if you need to. And with the gear shift, mine is on the right side, and I obviously can only use my left hand. And that's not really that big of a problem because, I mean, I can easily just do that, and I really don't have to have my hands on the wheel when I'm shifting gears because it's not a manual shift car, which I would definitely not recommend a manual shift car to someone who can only use one hand. You're just borrowing trouble with that. It's not a safe idea. So you put it in gear, then put the hand that you can use on the wheel. And one thing I want to point out about this, my spinner, is this may or may not be legal where you live, and I would advise you to check your local laws. And if it is illegal where you're from, you can actually still have it if you get a prescription. And I got one and put it in my glove box because you may drive somewhere where it is illegal, and if you get stopped by a police officer, you can say, hey, I got this prescription, show it to them, and everything will be okay with that. And really it helps you with turns. Like if you go around a curve, then you can you can grab onto this, and it makes it a lot easier. Because I've tried to turn without this spinner before, and I can do it, but it's not very convenient. And also for parents, it would be a good idea to get this in your car as well. So if your child has to drive your vehicle, they can still maneuver it effectively. So that's something I just wanted to clear up about that. And also with the knob, you can pick it up at a Tractor Supply store. I'm sure you could find it online as well. And you put it on there, and there's a bolt on the top and a bolt on the bottom, and it keeps it on there. Like this is pretty steady on there, and this is the only thing that moves, but it gives you a nice grip on there. Alright, so now I'm backing out of the driveway, and obviously since this is how to drive with one hand, really as far as pedals and your feet and everything, I'm really not going to touch on that because it's not really significant to this video. But this is a scenario where I'll use this as well when I'm turning out of the driveway. Just hold on to it like that. Then I stop, and I can take my hand off of this because I'm stopped, and shift it into drive and straighten myself out with this a little bit. And one thing I don't have to do right now, but I'll demonstrate it just to show you how it works, is the windshield wipers are on the right side, they're over there. And obviously since I'm only driving with one hand, it is a bit harder to do that. So what I tend to do is don't let go of the wheel. You just go like this, keep your hand on it, and go like that just with your fingers. Then when it comes to turning signals, that's obviously easy for me because it's on the left side. If you are the inverse and can use your right but not your left, with the windshield wipers over here, your hand would already be on that side, so you could just flick it easily. But you would do what I did with the windshield wipers and just keep your hand on it, slide it across, and do that. But do not let go of the wheel. And as you can see, as I turn onto another road, I have this on here. Try to keep your hand on the spinner when you turn, because sometimes I've forgotten to do that, and again, I was able to make the turn, but it's not very convenient because you don't have as good of a grip, and this tends to be in the way if you are just holding the wheel and trying to turn. So another thing about this is make sure you have a good distance between you and the knob and obviously the wheel. And because you don't want this to hit your leg or get caught on your coat or whatever the case may be. And as you can see, as I'm turning, I hold it the entire time, and I readjust the wheel with my hand on the spinner. Don't just do the turn, let go of it, and let it readjust it, because this can come around and hit you in the hand, and it can break your hand or break your fingers. And so that's just something you have to look out for. So a few final tips. Some of this is obvious. As far as temperature in your car goes, try to adjust that before you start driving, so that way you're not trying to reach over and do it while you're driving. Same thing with like the radio, and make sure you have clear windows before you start driving. And something I hope that everybody does already is steer clear of texting and driving, especially like if you can only use one hand. And if you have any further questions about anything, just let me know in the comments. And I thought about doing a Q&A video, so if you have a question just about anything that you want to ask me, leave it down below and I might put it in a video. Okay, thanks for watching.